This is NHK World Japan. We bring you the news from Radio Japan on Sunday, June 20th. I'm Hirokazu Sakamaki.
And I'm Keiko Kitagawa.
In our top stories, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that he will meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Sunday when he visits the demilitarized zone which separates the two Koreas.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Russian President Vladimir Putin sat down after the G20 summit and pledged to continue negotiations towards a peace treaty.
And Japan's withdrawal from the International Whaling Commission has gone into effect. Now the news in detail.
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that he will meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Sunday when he visits the demilitarized zone which separates the two Koreas. Trump will visit the DMZ on Sunday along with South Korean President Moon Jae-in after their summit in Seoul. Trump said, "I look forward to going to the DMZ, which I've wanted to see for a long time." Moon told Trump during their summit that a potential handshake between Trump and Kim at the DMZ would be an historic event. Moon also said it would be a significant milestone in the process to fully denuclearize the Korean peninsula and bring lasting peace.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Russian President Vladimir Putin sat down after the G20 summit on Saturday and pledged to continue negotiations towards the peace treaty. The sticking point has been a disagreement over 4 Russian-held islands claimed by Japan. After the talks, Abe said, "Nobody understands better than President Vladimir Putin and I that strengthening Japan-Russia relations is strategically important and that concluding a peace treaty will greatly enhance our bilateral ties." Putin said, "We have painstaking work ahead of us to substantially elevate Russia-Japan relations to a higher level. Those efforts will promote trusting and friendly ties between the two neighbors and lay the groundwork for seeking a mutually acceptable solution to the most complicated issue." The countries never signed a peace treaty after World War II because of the territorial dispute. Russia controls the 4 islands. Japan claims them. The Japanese government maintains the islands are an inherent part of Japan's territory. It says they were illegally occupied after World War II. Abe said he and Putin welcomed the fact that peace treaty negotiations were being carried out. They agreed to accelerate the talks last November based on a 1956 joint declaration. It states that Russia would hand over 2 of the 4 islands after a peace treaty is concluded. U.S. President Trump had said he is in no hurry to solve trade disputes with China. He called his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday in Osaka far greater than expected. On Twitter, Trump wrote on Sunday that he had a great meeting with President Xi of China and that he agreed not to increase the already existing tariff that we charge while we continue to negotiate. He also wrote that at the request of U.S. high-tech companies, he agreed to allow Chinese company Huawei to buy products from them that do not impact U.S. national security. But no specifics have been disclosed as to what types of cases will be allowed.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has again called for the investigation into the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi to be ramped up. Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is suspected of having been involved in Khashoggi's murder, which happened at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul last October. Speaking to reporters at the G20 summit on Saturday, Erdogan said it's important for the international community to identify and bring to justice those responsible and that no one should be allowed to get away. He said he did not speak with the Saudi Crown Prince during the summit. Saudi Arabia will host next year's G20 summit. The Crown Prince appears to have fully returned to the diplomatic arena, holding bilateral talks with the United States, Britain and other countries during this year's summit.
You're listening to Radio Japan of the NHK World Japan Network. Japanese immigration officials are to expand the use of a machine facial recognition system at airports, this time for foreign visitors leaving Japan. Since its introduction in 2017, the system has been in use at gates for inbound and outbound Japanese travelers at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, Narita Airport near Tokyo, and other such facilities. The system compares the traveler's passport photo data with an image taken on the spot. As the number of international tourists visiting Japan increases, the authorities plan to introduce the automated gates for foreign outbound passengers in late July. Immigration officials hope to improve efficiency with the system and free up staff to handle inbound travelers in the run-up to the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Tokyo in 2020.
Japan withdrew from the International Whaling Commission, or IWC, on Sunday. The country will resume commercial whaling the next day. Japan joined the IWC in 1951, supporting its pursuit of sustainable whaling by protecting the number of whales. After Japan suspended commercial whaling in 1988, in line with an IWC moratorium, it has been unable to find common ground with anti-whaling countries. Japan announced its intention to withdraw last December, saying it was no longer possible to resume commercial whaling under IWC rules. Japan says it will conduct commercial whaling only in its territorial waters and exclusive economic zones, hunting minke and other species that have large enough numbers within quotas set by the IWC-adopted method.
Tens of activists have taken to the streets in central London to protest Japan's resumption of commercial whaling. About 50 people took part in the demonstration held by Britain-based animal protection and other groups on Saturday. The protesters marched toward the Japanese embassy while carrying placards and shouting out an appeal for whale protection. Outside the embassy, they demanded that the Japanese government cancel the resumption of commercial whaling.
Weather officials are calling for caution as continuing heavy rain may cause landslides, flooding in low-lying areas, and swollen rivers till midweek. The Meteorological Agency says the lingering seasonal rain front is bringing active rain clouds to parts of eastern and western Japan. Warm, damp air is blowing into the front, creating an unstable atmospheric condition. It has brought torrential rain to the southern main island of Kyushu. Intermittent heavy rain is expected to fall till midweek in parts of western and eastern Japan. Intense rain of 70 millimeters per hour could fall in northern Kyushu. And that was the news from Radio Japan of the NHK World Japan Network. I'm Keiko Kitagawa.
And I'm Hirokazu Sakamaki.